Hi, this is Danny. Welcome to my Mostly Sax YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about why I believe most musicians, if not all musicians, should learn how to play the piano. I think it's massively important, and in my day-to-day job as a college lecturer, I offer this advice to my students quite regularly, that the piano, it should be learned by all musicians. So this is why I think you should learn the piano. Before you continue watching this video, I'm going to give you a slight something to watch out for, really. I'm going to talk quite a lot about music theory and reference some music theory things on the keyboard and how it translates to other instruments. Now, don't be put off if you don't understand the music theory. So if you start watching this and your music theory isn't at a high enough level to understand what I'm talking about, don't worry about that. The point isn't the theory. It's the argument that I'm using theory to help explain. So don't be put off if you don't understand it. So as I've just mentioned, my day-to-day job is I am a college lecturer. And obviously, it's a fantastic job. I get the opportunity to work with a lot of kind of up-and-coming and aspiring musicians. And it's nice to be in a place where I'm talking about music and the performance thereof, theory involved, and basically all aspects of music on a daily basis. And at a weekend, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, which is the weekend, I tend to go out as a live performing musician. So firstly, in the college environment, being able to play the piano is invaluable because I can support musicians, I can support singers, I can demonstrate things in a classroom environment. So from a teaching point of view, and if you're a young musician that is kind of studying music with the idea of going on to become a teacher, it is an unbelievable resource to be able to teach and play the piano at the same time. In England, I don't know about other countries, but in England, if you play the piano and apply for a primary or secondary job, I would argue that on a CV, that will push you forward and kind of add to your employability if you can play the piano as well. Because particularly primary school, obviously you have afternoons where you'll be singing with the kids. And thinking back on my old primary school life, we had a teacher called Mr. Griffiths and Mrs. Mrs. Newell, who both played an instrument. And it was just great when you're a kid, you know, enjoying and kind of learning about music with proper, people who can play. With regard to gigging and my weekend job, a large amount of it in the bands that I work with, I'll play keyboard and I'll play saxophone. Sometimes I'll play percussion and play saxophone, but there's usually like some sort of combination. And I think if you're a saxophone player, actually, tell me if you find this in your life, but the saxophone tends to be the window dressing that's dropped. What I mean by that is, if you play as somebody that's hired by bands as opposed to being in your one band, so like I do, like you'll get a call saying we need a sax player for this, and you know, you kind of go out in different outfits, not clothes, like different bands. What you find is, because we're the window dressing, if you like we're the extra, if people can't afford it or the band want to make a little bit of extra money, the sax is the one that's binned, or the trumpet or the trombone or whatever. Let's just keep it drums, bass, guitar, voice or whatever, and those window dressing instruments will drop those ones. If you play the keyboard, obviously you're offering something else that you can do. So I like play keyboard, sax, sing sometimes. So your employability, again, with regard to gigging, goes up if you can offer something else to a band, because obviously that would be great if you've got drums, bass, drums, bass, guitar, and a sax player who's going to play keyboards in the parts where they're not playing sax, adds to something else that you're offering to a band. The most important reason that any musician should learn the piano, because you may not want to gig, you may not want to work as a teacher, so it might not have those employability things for you. But the reason that everyone should learn the piano is this. And I'm going to take the guitar, I'm calling it. I'm going to take my camera and show you the keys to demonstrate this next bit. So here we are from the piano player's point of view. If the audio on this video has changed slightly, it's just because I've had to alter the setup a little bit so I can access the keys from where I am. So, the reason that all musicians should learn how to play the piano, and I'm not saying that you need to be the next kind of Johnny Piano, all I mean is that you just have to have a good understanding of kind of the workings of a piano, is because it is so visual. So let's take, for example, that you go to a saxophone lesson, somebody tells you that there are no E sharps and there are no F flats, and there's no B sharp and there's no C flat. Now, I know I'm going to get a million comments in the comment section saying that you do get those notes, but I'm talking from a beginner's point of view, that's kind of how someone's introduced it to you. On the piano, you can see that there is no black key between the E and the F, and you can see that there is no black key between the B and the C. Now, you may not know what the names of the notes are, you may not know that these are sharps and flats, but you can see straight away that something's missing in the pattern. You can see that the white keys, the pattern of black keys doesn't follow, that there's a constant spread of all white and all black. Very, very visual in that aspect. And it's the visual aspect of playing the piano which is unbelievably invaluable to, particularly, let's say, with a saxophone. Because if you play the sax, it's what I would refer to as a blind instrument, meaning that you can't see your fingers as you play it. The only thing that you're going to really be able to see is your left-hand thumb on the octave key. But why would you watch that anyway? Plus, you're going to have to go cross-eyed and look through your crook to see any of the finger work. The piano, however, is extremely visual. Let's take C major scale. My technique looks bad here because I'm also trying to negotiate my camera stand. But C, let me keep it right. Oops, it is. You see, I'm knocking my camera. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. But straight away you can see that I didn't touch any of the black keys. So from that visual point of view, it's quite easy to appreciate there are no sharps and flats, which are the black keys. There are no accidentals, no sharps and flats in C major. You can see that. Okay, so the visual representation is there. So that's one thing, because I can show you a million different examples of how visually it's different. But this is how I like to think of it when theory starts to get a little bit more involved. So let's take something like an E minor 9, right? So we've got an E minor, which is E, keep knocking the camera, sorry, E, G, and B. Again, I'm having to use this strange fingering technique because of all of these stands I've got in front of me. E, G, B, D gives us the minor 7, and F sharp gives us the 9. So E minor 9. Okay? Now, if I was soloing as a saxophone player and I didn't know what an E minor 9 was, and I had to learn it and just commit it to memory, you need to know your minor scale, obviously. You need to be able to work out the 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and kind of build it together, and not only that, remember it. Whereas if you have this visual representation, when you start to learn theory through a keyboard or a piano, you can see, and it's easier to commit to memory, that pattern. Also, you can start to pick apart other things that are at play here. So if we take the E off the bottom, a minor 9 is at major 7 built on the minor 3rd. All right, so if I'm building that chord, now I know I can just play a major 7, that's an inversion of it, but a G major 7 inverted with an E in the bass. Okay? If I have something like, I don't know, let's say a C major 7, and it will do a sharp 11, right? So I've got that there now. And it's a very, very similar chord to the E minor 9, because you can see if I take the C off, I have that same building block. If I take the E off, I'm back to my G major 7. And you can see from an improvisational point, and just from knowing your music theory, that is really well spelled out. A minor 7, for example, let's take an A minor 7, is just a C with an A in the bass. Okay? Or the lowest as the root. C with the A. Okay? And once you know these little paths and these little tricks, it opens up the library, if you like, to music theory. And a lot of my students, speaking from experience of the past 12 years, I think I've taught BTEC music, in the UK, students struggle with music theory, and it's tough, music theory, and it's hard because of how daunting it feels. The keys and the keyboard, if there was ever a way to unpick it faster and to kind of get that kind of back door into theory, if you like, and take it on quicker, the piano presents that. Okay, so let me just change angle again. So again, to call on my experience as a college lecturer, another reason that I know that music theory is... start again. So to call on my experience as a college lecturer, another reason that I have kind of proof, if you like, that music theory is easier to digest for keyboard players is keyboard players who have been on my course, when they start to attend music theory lessons, they understand it a lot quicker if they don't already have a lot of pre-existing knowledge or prior knowledge of music theory. And when you present ideas to them that, say for example, the difference between a major chord and a minor chord is a flattened third, they can see that in their mind's eye because, let's take G major, G, B, D, and they can visualize that this central note just drops down. They can picture it. When I improvise, I have a keyboard in my mind. I like visualize. So to take that minor 9, I can see what I would play as a minor 9 on a keyboard. In conclusion, whether you are a drummer, whether you're a guitarist, a singer, a sax player, brass, woodwind, whatever you play, unless of course you're a piano player, very definitely if you're a piano player, I would suggest that you learn to play even just the basics of building triads, building chords, and learning a few little things about scales on a keyboard and a piano, because you will find that it will open up your knowledge of your instrument much quicker than if you did it through a book or whether you did it just by looking at your own instrument. The keyboard is, for anybody that's out there that wants to, like, how do you learn this stuff quicker? There's got to be a trick to it. There's got to be a cheat. This is as close as you get to a cheat, I would suggest. Okay, you may agree, you may not. Let me know in the comments. But I would say, and from, without kind of holding up my college lecturer card, from years of experience, this is the trick to getting there quicker. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe, because it does help to support my music making and these kind of lessons and things, and I appreciate it. I like to hear from people. You can see in the comments that I'm quite quick to get back to people. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Thanks a lot.